Hi, you're on IDBM, and today we'll learn how to implement drag and drop on Unity using the new input system. So let's get started. So first step is to create a simple scene. I have imported a floor asset from an asset pack to have a clear scene. So let's size it. And then I will add a sphere that I will use the drag and drop on. So now that our scene is created with the two game objects, let's actually create the input actions that will allow us to drag and drop the sphere. For that, right click in the project tab, create input actions. Let's name it drag drop or drag and drop or whatever you want to name it. Then click the edit asset button. This will open you this new tab in which there is 3 subtabs. The first one is action maps. You can think of them as group of inputs that you will use depending on your game context. For example, if you are in the UI or if you are in-game. In our case, we only are in-game, so let's name it drag drop. Inside the map, you have a list of actions, which are all the interaction that the user can have with its device. For example, clicking the mouse, pressing a key on the keyboard, or any input coming from a controller. And an action has a type which can take 3 different values. The first one is button. It's designed for the discrete on and off actions, for example, clicking on the mouse. Then there is the value type, which is designed for continuous value, for example, tracking the position of the mouse. And then there is the pass-through type, which is basically the raw data coming from any input. So in our case, we will need 2 actions. The first one is tracking the position of the mouse on the screen. For that, let's rename the default one to tracking. Let's select type value as it's a continuous data, and let's use a vector too, as we are tracking coordinate of the mouse. Let's select its bindings. It's where the data is coming from. So in our case, pointer position. Let's create the second action that we need, which is the click of the mouse. Let's name it clicking with a type of button, which is the default one. And let's select pointer, pointer and press. Now you can save your asset and you are ready to go. Now that we are done with the creation of the input actions, we actually need to use them in a script. So for that, I created a drag drop script with create script. Let's edit it. I already created a full script that I will now explain. The first part is 3 references. The first 2 ones are the references to action we earlier created, so the tracking action and the clicking action. And the last reference is a camera that we actually need because the inputs are based and calculated from what the user sees on the screen, and so we need this camera reference. Then there are 4 variables. The first one stores the position in which the user clicked on the screen. Then there is the position of the game object that has been clicked, if there is one, of course. Then there is an offset to determine the exact position of the selected game object. And then there is a plane that will allow the selected object to move in the scene. After that, we have the enable and disable functions, which just maps some functions to the action from the reference. And we then have 3 other functions. The first one is on touch press. It's the one that is in charge of detecting if the click is on a game object or not. For that, we simulate a line in the scene based on the position of the click. And then if it hits a game object, so if it collides with it, we select the game object, we create a plane where it is allowed to move on, and we calculate the offset from the collide point with the line and from the actual center of the game object, so in our case the sphere. The next function is in charge of moving the selected game object in the scene based on the mouse position. The first part, we track the mouse position, and then if there is a selected game object, we assign this mouse position to the game object on the previously created plane. And we have a last function which basically unselect the game object when we release the click. Now that we are done with the coding part, we just need to assign script and references in the editor. So for that, I will just assign my script to the main camera. You can assign it to whatever object you prefer. I will drag and drop it, and then complete the references. So from the drag drop input action that we earlier created, let's select tracking and clicking, and then let's set the camera to our main camera. We now have a working drag and drop, so I will show it by running it. There I'm clicking on the sphere and it will be moving based on my mouse cursor, as you can see. And if I release, of course, it will no longer follow it. I hope this tutorial helped you, and if you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe, and see you soon.